his order. Because a lot of times people are not concerned about the order of God. They just mesh everything together. But that's a problem and a major mistake, because in your life, the enemy will use you being out of order, right, to try to make you be offended. Like the class I taught yesterday on the IG, right, to try to make you offended. Everything is to try to make you offended, because if he can make you offended, he can make you rebel against the Most High unconsciously, right? And you can be in the spirit of rebellion, which is witchcraft, right? But this is how he uses those things, right? So he said, but first, Matthew 6:23, but first and most importantly, see how he put that level on it? And most importantly, he says, and most importantly, and most importantly. So he said first, and if you didn't understand what first meant, he said, and most importantly, right? Seek, aim at, strive after his kingdom and his righteousness, his way of doing and being right, the attitude and character of God. Like I said, what's most important for the Most High is for you to know him. Your knowledge of him is most important, and that's exactly what it says here. But first and most importantly, seek, aim at, strive after his kingdom and his righteousness, his way of doing and being right, the attitude and character of God, right? And then he says, and all these things will be also given unto you, right? But he's trying to make you understand the order of things, right? You can't just mesh everything together. And because he holds the terms, there's nothing we can do about it, right? Which comes into play, which I've said to you before, the only clear evidence of faith is a good attitude. That's the only thing you can bring into the equation through your submission and your obedience, right? Because what he's trying to get you to is an area of discipline, because it is the discipline and the obedience and submission that gives you access to the realms of power, right? Because he's trying to prepare you and make you be accountable for the power and authority that he's going to distribute unto you, right? But there's a way that you have to be processed, salted, before you can be trusted with such authority and such power. Do you understand? And so this process, I know it because I've lived it. Because there have been times that I've asked the Lord during my 40-year journey, why this, why that, and why this? Because he constantly brings back to me, what I have given you is more important than the temporal things that you seek. I'm going to do all that, Andre, right? I'm going to do everything that I said I'm going to do for you, right? But I want you to understand that you have been given, your knowledge of me is higher than all upon the face of the earth, and anyone else that is underneath this salty will be higher upon any value that the earth can give you, that the world can present to you. What I have placed in you, what you have garnered through the salting process, right, is eternal value. That means you take it with you when you leave. That's good stuff right there, Remnant. That's good stuff. This other stuff, it stays. You can't take it anywhere, right? You'll give your life for something that you can't take once you give your life. You will tell you that I am not impacted by the things that this human being feels that are necessary for him to live. Why else would you bring me in the world? Just to be here and do what? Right? Don't make me feel as if these other things are so grand and so big that, you can't do them or something. Why is it that I have to be in the world seeing all the devil's children, enjoy all of whatever the world has to offer? You brought me here. I would like to enjoy whatever's here. When I'm transitioning, I'll deal with that then. But while I'm right here, there are some things that are needful for me. Right? And I don't want to be on no religious trip making you think that I don't have a need for these things. Right? I'm in the world. I keep seeing evil men and evil people prospering, enjoying all the world has to offer, and I see the righteous in turmoil. Right? Well, the 400-year curse is over with. You need to see, that's my communication to him. And so he brings me back to what's most important to him. Right? And I didn't stop. Right? I said, I have given my life to you. I have accepted everything you wanted me to go through. I have accepted it with a good attitude. Whether it was physical, mental, emotional, I have accepted it. And I've gone through those things. Right? And I'm talking to you like David talked to you, because he was living in the cave. You had made him king over Israel, and of course, the natural manifestation of it didn't happen, but the moment you told him he was king, you considered him king. And now he's getting chased. His life is on the line. He had to live in a cave, and now he's going through all these situations because King Saul's trying to kill him, and he got to keep maneuvering and moving and all this, that, and the other until you decided it was time to fulfill what you told you was going to do for him. But I heard David speaking in the psalm saying, I would have fainted unless I come to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. That is his humanity speaking out to you. I'm not going to be around here on no fake stuff with you, God. I'm not about to Christianize anything. I'm going to let you know if I'm going through something. Now let's get it clear. Like I said in class the other day, I'm going to submit and be obedient, period. But that doesn't mean I don't have a voice. That don't mean that I'm not going to speak to you about my human frustrations or my human lack of understanding like David did. He said, I would have fainted. I would have failed unless I come to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And David is reaching, crying out to him and say, look, God, man, I'm in all this situation and this. I need you to move for me in the land of the living. And I'm telling God, I can relate to that. And I can relate to a lot of the patriarchs as they were shifting and going through things and crying out to you at the same time. I can relate to that. walking through this salting process? Can you feel it? Yes. Is it breaking you? Yes. Am I the potter? Are you the clay? Yes. Right? Do you realize that you are and have been in the salting process or have been in the salting process? I do realize it. Okay, well, if you see that I was true, right, to allowing this salting process in your life, why is it that you can't see I'm going to be just as true when I told you I'm going to add all those other things unto you? And then I come back at the Most High and said it's not a matter of me feeling that you're not going to be true. It's a matter of timing. I'm a human being. It's a matter of timing to me, right? So if I have any complaint against anything, it's a complaint of your timing, right? If there's a complaint, my complaint has never been your capacity and ability to do everything that you say you can do. I know it. I know it. I don't think it. I don't believe it. I know it. I know. I've seen you do things in my life, right? And I know it is you that have held me captive to this area in my life until you're ready to process. I know that this is your hand. I am confident in your ability to keep me concentrated in a place for 40 years and not allow me to go to that next level. That takes your hand. I am aware that you're capable and you can do anything. I believe you can do anything. That's not my complaint, Lord. That's not my complaint. My complaint is timing. You see, how does your life, your life is an extension of your complaint fit into that part right there? Do you see what I'm saying? Because my complaint has always been timing. And my life is an extension of that complaint, right? My life is exactly about timing. It ain't about what I can stay down. It ain't about whether I can, it ain't about whether I could go through circumstances. It ain't about taking loss. It ain't about being uncomfortable. It ain't about any of those things. My life has simply been about his time. And like we read yesterday, some of you guys were in class, right? And Yahushua himself says, only the Father knows time. He's put that in his own hands. Even the angels above don't know the time, right? So who else am I going to talk to about it? Do I not talk to him about it? Man, I've had 40 years of conversing with the Most High, right? 40 years, right? And I can tell him, I've told you, it's too many times to name during this process of 40 years that I'm tired. I told him that many times that I'm tired, Lord. I'm tired. I need to reflect. I need a place where I can just take all of it in and just take it all in. I've been here so many times. I remember one time I had this dream. This is years ago. And it was in Florida. I remember specifically. I don't know where it was in Florida, right? But I was walking towards this tree, right? And I had walked to this tree before many a times, right? And this time when I was walking towards the tree, I wanted to turn around because the tree represented great disappointment. The tree represented disappointment. But this time it represented just horrible disappointment. It was pain, it was agony. That's what this tree represented, right? And I began to turn around because I didn't want to go through that no more. And the moment I began to turn around, the Spirit of the Lord caught me in the air and levitated me toward the tree. And I began to levitate upward beside the tree. And as I began to levitate upward, the tree began to bloom full of diamonds. Because the tree had not bloomed all those times that I had come before. And because it didn't bloom, I was like, I want to be, it represented disappointment, my disappointments, right? But this time the Spirit of the Lord brought me up and levitated didn't disappoint.